10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Podcast. My name is Chris, and I will be your host. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for their time and patience. You have been more than understanding and more than generous with your mentoring and just knowing things that I have no clue about yet, such as recording and interviewing, kind of the basis of what I'm supposed to be doing here. So I'm starting out at ground zero. I know I'm going to screw up a lot, and I guess I'll just apologize in advance. I'm sorry. I messed up. I'll figure it out. So let me tell you a little bit about this podcast. The format is going to be mostly interview style. Hopefully I'll have some songs on if I can, and I'll talk about some tours or merchandise or whatever's just going on in the scene, basically. And with that said, I've noticed in going to a whole bunch of shows over the past year that in the death metal and black metal scene, it seems to be sliding in and out of the doom scene as well. So I think I'm going to have some interviews with some people in the death metal and black metal genres as well. So with that, I know this is a learning process, and hearing some of the interviews that I've done so far, I've heard a few cringeworthy things. I do fuck up a bit, and I'm trying to fix that. I don't want to edit it because I just want to keep it real. And with that, there's crutch words that, apparently I say right on and killer quite a bit. So maybe take a hit or take a shot. You're pretty much guaranteed to be polluted by the end of this. And I will try and not say that as much, or who knows, maybe I'll get another irritating crutch word to say over the years. So if you need to contact us, please do. It's doomtombpocast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and Facebook and YouTube, all under the same thing. It's Doom Tomb Podcast, DOOMTOMB Podcast. Thank you so much for enduring all that, and I really hope that you subscribe. Maybe, I know it's early, if you can leave a rating, if you like it, or if you don't like it quite yet, maybe don't rate it yet. Figure it out. Either way, I'd like to get on to the first interview. This is the inaugural episode, so it's going to be rough. I got to, just like the rest of them, sometimes I swear I got nervous with the interviews. Where some of them were standing up in a parking lot, and you hear all this ambient noise, and I think it's kind of indicative of the scene in a way, because it just keeps it raw, it keeps it fresh, and it's almost my excuse for saying I'm sorry that there's background noise. So this first episode is with a band called Amplified Heat. It's a trio out of Austin, Texas. They're brothers. It's Jim, Gian, and Chris. And we go into a lot of different things and ask a lot of different questions. This one was actually maybe a little bit quieter because it was in their tour van. And we go over a lot of things. We talk about some music that they did there was an album that they have out right now called On the Hunt, and also Rateros. And Rateros was something that I was discussing with them when I was trying to ask them about their sound. And I said that there was one song that kind of reminded me of like a Butthole Surfers kind of psych vibe. And that was a song called Black Hell. And there was another song that I told them or tried to unfortunately define it as like a Pink Floyd style. And it was almost like this country kind of Pink Floyd. And that to me was the song called Warm Summer Breeze. If you decide that you don't agree with that, please let me know. There's a whole bunch of other different really incredible sounds that they got, and they go over that, and they go over what types of cabinets and what equipment they're using, and they give a little bit of insight as to what's coming up on their next release and subsequent touring. So with all that said, I think we're ready. Are you? Well, I don't know if I am, but here's the first episode with Amplified Heat on the Doom Tomb podcast. Okay, we are here with Amplified Heat at the Palo Verde Lounge in Tempe, Arizona. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Let's start because we're going to go around. I'm mixing with two mics here, so I'm going to go around and we're going to get everybody's opinions and ideas, and we're going to see what happens. So go ahead.
Well, I'm Gian, and I'm the bassist. I'm the youngest brother, and I need to get stoned.
It's the Ortiz Trio. Yeah. Right.
I'm Chris Ortiz. I am the drummer. And, in the order of the siblings, I am the middle, as I am 41. And here is the other one.
My name is Jim Ortiz. I am the guitarist, lead singer of the band, and the oldest of the brothers.
All right. Now that we have everybody introduced, so tell me a little bit about the tour. What's been going on?
Nothing but good times, really. You know, the shows have been great. Some better than others, but we've been having a good time, as we do every time we go on the road.
And when you're on the road, I know it might be hard sometimes to grab something to eat or whatever. Any famous stops or anything that you got along the way?
We pretty much hit wherever we can. I mean, in McRib, I always get a McRib.
Did the McRib make its final return? I mean, it's back?
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Well, I had mine in California when I had the chance.
Well, if you haven't had In-N-Out, I mean, you got to stop off.
I mean, we've had In-N-Out, but we didn't do it this time.
Past tours, we used to always go to the Waffle House, but we decided to skip it this time around.
You got a little smothered and covered and diced and all that?
Yeah, we're just going to try to eat a little bit better than we have in the past. We're getting a little bit older, so we got to take better care of ourselves so we can keep rocking and rolling, you know.
Gotcha. So I want to talk a little bit about the last release you have, and you said before you have a new release coming out. Can you talk a little bit about the new release first?
Yeah, it's going to be coming out next year, hopefully after the first of the year, but definitely the goal is like by March, because we usually hit the road around that time, so we need a new record to push while we're out here pounding the pavement.
Do you have anything different on this album? Because I've listened to the past couple of releases you've had. It's incredible. It so goes over so many different genres. I'll hear one song, and if I'm wrong, please stop me. I hear one song and I'm thinking, wow, I feel like I hear a little Butthole Surfers, and then on the next song I feel like I'm hearing a little Pink Floyd, and then I hear this like crazy drum come in, and then it goes into like this jazzy swing, but it's all like this giant carriage of blues rock. So is that what you guys are going for? Is there something else?
No, it's basically it. It's blues-based rock and roll, but we touch on other things that we grew up listening to. You know, we all listen to different types of music, rock and roll, of course, blues, psychedelic music, some old school outlaw country, jazz. And now that we get older, we've come to appreciate the music that our parents listened to.
Yeah, that definitely comes with age.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you, because I know you guys have been on the road. Do you know who Mike Judge is? The guy that did Beavis and Butthead. He is doing this show, I think, on Cinemax, and he is going over all the old-time country singers. Mm-hmm. Some of them, wow, what a life.
Tales from the Tour Bus, that one?
Yeah, Tales from the Tour Bus. So it's like Waylon Jennings and Tammy Wynette. And there was a one I saw recently about Blaze Foley. I never heard of the guy.
I've heard the name, but I haven't heard his work.
It was an incredible ride that guy was on. It was a short journey, but it was a powerful journey. So who else have you been touring with? I know tonight you're here with Wolves of Winter. So who else have you been touring with that you really had a bond with?
In the recent tours, we've really hooked up with the OCs out of L.A., the psych rock band from L.A. We're really good friends with John Dwyer. He's a sweet cat, real nice guy, and a huge supporter of Amplified Heat, so we really appreciate him. And he's taken us on a road with him, a couple of occasions now, Gian?
Yeah.
The last tour we did before this one, we were opening for them for 4 dates on that tour, and it was a lot of fun, and it exposed us to a whole new different audience.
Great.
And they have obviously loved what we were doing because they were hooting and hollering and going crazy while we were playing. So. And that's the idea. You know?
So how many miles do you think you've logged so far?
Oh, shit.
We're getting up to, well, let's see. We're getting up to 3,000.
3,000?
3,000, yeah. Because we did the oil change right before we left.
Right.
Or actually, when we got to Denver, I did the oil change, and I think by tomorrow I'm gonna have to do it again.
So what? So what's next? Are you after this? Because you're winding up on this tour, right? And then you're gonna go back out, or are you gonna focus on the material for the next release?
Well, yeah, we started working on the new materials. I think that the new record is now like, it's kind of old for us, just
Okay.
because we've been listening to it and mixing it and
Okay.
all that stuff. But now that it's done, we can move on.
Okay.
And now that, I mean, the winter time is slow touring season, so we're not really gonna do much. So we're actually gonna sit down and start hatching out the next one.
So while you have the mic, let me talk a little bit about your equipment. What do you play?
As far as I go, I do a Fender Bassman 135, which is pretty much like a dual Showman reverb, but without the reverb. 2 of those heads with 2 215 Fender cabinets.
Right on. Now, I was talking to Josh from Wolves of Winter. You brought in a special cabinet. I have to admit, I'm not big on the musical instrument part, but I'm trying. And could you explain what that was? Because he seemed super jazzed about seeing that.
Well, that was actually one of Gion's cabinets. It looks to be a 68 Fender 215 cab, and Gion's rig is 2 of those. And then when we play bigger shows, which we use what we call the guns, because then he'll have a stack of Marshall 215 cabs along with that. So, and that's what he uses. And his axe of choice is the 63 Gibson EBO, right? Yeah.
And while you have the microphone, go ahead and tell me a little bit about your instruments.
Well, I'm a Stratocaster man.
Yeah.
Faithfully, although you'll catch me cheating every once in a while on Les Paul or an SG or something like that. But it's mainly Stratocasters. Amplification is 50-watt Fender Bassman heads. I got a couple of 66s and a 68. And when we started out, I had the Fender 212 cabs. But after about 5 tours or so, I had to retire them because they were vintage and they got beat up. So I upgraded to Marshalls.
Fantastic. Now, pedals? No pedals?
No, I use some pedals. I use fuzz, wah-wah, roto vibe, echo, and did I already say overdrive? Yeah.
Overdrive.
It's pretty simple, not too much.
Right on. And Chris, I'd like to hear a little bit about your kit.
The drums, yes. I'm a Ludwig and Peisty man. My drums consist of 60s Ludwigs, Black Oyster Pearl like Ringo Starr, and Peisty 2002s. Right now I have the newer line that just came out, I think, last year, the Big Beats. But I do have actual mid-70s 2002 Ride, which has a lot of, it's not very pingy. It's got the wash, but also the definition, so you can tell I'm riding.
Fantastic.
And just basically just vintage style gear. I mean, that's how I feel I could get the sound of the drums that I want, that I look for.
And you can completely hear that on the recordings. There's no question.
Yes.
So while I'm here, and I know, like I said, I know you guys are on tour. I don't know if you're able to watch anything on tour, maybe something through Wi-Fi or what have you. Any of you have like a Netflix binge that you're like in the middle of?
Yeah. I've been watching Forensic Files.
Forensic Files. Okay.
Yeah, I like a lot of those crime stories and stuff. A lot of reality things.
Do you follow any of the the cop shows too, or just more like the whodunit and how did this person die and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, pretty much those stories, the reenactment stories and stuff, and then the science behind it. You
Right
know.
on.
Yeah. But as far as like shows, like scripted shows, I haven't gotten into any of them in a while.
Right.
So, and
Breaking Bad was the last one.
yeah, Breaking Bad. I really like that one.
Was that one of the best shows of the decade?
Yeah,
Now,
I haven't seen anything that's topped it.
Have any of you seen Ozark yet?
I've been hearing about it. No.
It
I've
is,
been hearing a lot about Ozark. Everybody's telling me about it. But
dude, you gotta see the show, man.
Yeah.
It's only one season so far.
Uh-huh.
It is a blast. To me, it feels like the closest thing that I've seen to Breaking Bad that you're going to find.
All right.
Highly recommend it. Highly
Yeah.
recommend it.
You're like the 5th high recommendation. of
Yes,
that,
very
so.
high. The Doom Tomb podcast, verified,
All right.
without question. So now after you play in the wonderful Arizona, where are we to next?
We're going to El Paso, playing at the Monarch.
El Paso, and
Yeah.
is that the end?
No, we have Marfa after that.
And where are we going? Where is that?
Marfa is like close to what's that national park down there? There's a national park down there. We should know. We're in Texas. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of close to the border a little bit.
Right on.
You know, to West Texas.
So, do you guys play with a lot of other Texas bands that are of this genre?
Yeah, I mean, they got their own style. They got their own bag going on. A lot of more heavier riff oriented rock and roll or kind of borderline metal, but you know, we're more from like the psychedelic blues side.
Would you consider it like a heavy psych?
Us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Right on. So if you were to describe it, like describe your whole sound, what would you say? For maybe each of you.
Loud.
Just loud amps in the face.
Loud, powerful, blues based. You know, with a little touch of soul to it, you know, and our songs, related to the question you asked earlier, the new material as opposed to the old one, we're getting more into melodies and actually singing songs rather than just screaming them at the top of our lungs.
Right.
You know, and Gian and Chris have both been contributing more into the songwriting process. They're tapped into their gift, so now it's more like a collective, whereas before it was like one cat, wrote most of the stuff, but, you know, they've gotten confident enough to where they got their own stuff and they put it out, and it's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Great. Now, so what would you consider? What would you consider? Would you agree, or do you want to add anything you want to add to the sound that you have now?
I think it's always been pretty collaborative,
right?
For the most part. But yeah, it does come in like, you know, Jim for the longest time would be the one coming in with the majority of the song, you know.
Okay.
And then we would contribute. We all have the freedom to kind of do our bit. In the later years, like or in the more recent years, it has been more like, no, do this part like this, do this part like that. You know?
Right.
So we are coming in kind of like with our own perspective on this song, like, you know, kind of like what the Beatles did. You know, like their song, they had certain things that they wanted to do.
Exactly.
You know, and everybody would contribute something. You know, and of course, if it doesn't work, it doesn't go. So it's not like we're being forced.
Yeah.
To play certain things. You know, we all feel pretty good about it.
It's got to be unanimous.
You know.
Like you wait till things can get fleshed out a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and how about yourself, Chris? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I have an interesting take on it. Just like you mentioned that when you heard some songs, you heard Butthole Surfers
Right.
and Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
I kind of leave it at, whatever people hear out of it, you know. We purposely don't want to sound like anybody else.
Right.
We definitely do have our influences and where we get our ideas from, but when the three of us do it, and I think just something unique comes out that only we can do.
Right.
The three of us, the collective, you know, of where we come from, of what we wanted to sound like. And I think it's cool that other people hear these different other things that, oh, wow, I never thought of that, you know. But if you can hear it in there and you like it, then I'll take it, you know.
Cool.
It's a good what I say, oh man, it's just great to be able to get that type of feedback out of what we do.
So while discussing that, and you have the mic, so on this tour, I'm sure you have a set list. You
Yes.
pick your songs. What are you getting the most vibe out of, song-wise? Like, are you getting something big on crowd reaction, or is there something that you guys just like, this song, I'm really in the groove? Or does it change night to night?
We kind of try to change it night to night. Our road manager, Drea, she's been helping out with putting a set list together every night, you know.
Right.
Which is kind of good because usually we wouldn't know what to do, and we wouldn't write out a set list.
It keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
Right.
There are some songs that, and plus she has a perspective of like the listener, like from the outside of the band.
Right.
So I think this song's going to be a good rocker or whatever. And so far each song we've been getting a pretty good reception by the people.
Do you pick some of the songs due to the area that you're in? of the country?
It varies, yeah. Like when we did, was it San Diego? It was a little bit more. We didn't know what to make out of it, so we kind of like half powered the gear.
That was
Oceanside, yeah. So in Oceanside, we just half powered the gear because the place wasn't that big, and we kind of harnessed ourselves. We kind of like held back a bit,
Right.
but towards the end, it started to, the momentum started to pick up, and it started to get a little heavier, but we still kept it down because usually we just all out, full volume, full stacks, all the way. But yeah, so we do tend to gauge the audience and the crowd.
Cool. And is there anything that, like I said, is there one song that you like really love to play that you got to put it in every set, or is this or you leave it up to Drea to just kind of pick it and figure it out?
Yeah, kind of that, Sometimes Jim wants to hear, like, we have a song called Without Love that he loves doing, which is more like a ballady type thing, but it's heavy.
Right.
Heavy toms, big chords, really laying down like a Sabbath type of swing, And but then we got other like rockers. We got more of like another like a Beatles type rocker, and then our like boogies. Our take on the blues rock thing, which we lean more towards the boogie when we do blues. Like Canned Heat type things.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jim, what do you think? Like, what's your hot song?
Well, like the one he said, Without Love. I wrote that one a couple of years ago.
Right.
And it's got personal value to me, and so it's a way for me to let some demons out, and then people that can relate to it, and they do, because it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's about breaking up, really, and that's every rock and roll song. And
The universal song.
Yeah. So
But it hits a chord with so many people.
Yeah, especially the girls. So that's the important element as well. But yeah, I mean, really, we just we let Drea pick the songs. She writes us a set list. We do them. Sometimes there's a tune that she'll pick, and we're like, nah, let's do this one instead, and then we'll do that. But for the most part, her input keeps us in check. Yeah.
And speaking of input, when I saw some of the crazy great merch you guys got, who decides that? Is it a group collected? Is it somebody that does it for you? Do you come up with an idea and somebody fleshes it out? How's that work?
Kind of a little bit of everything. Somebody.
This time it was mainly Drea, I think.
It was Drea.
I would say that, yeah, for this tour.
Shout
for
out to
sure,
Drea.
Because, yeah. No, yeah,
Badass.
for sure. Because as far as the band's concerned, like when it came to that merch, like, I would be like, hey, we need to do this. Okay. Hey, we should do this. Okay. But it was real basic, shirts, stickers, buttons, and then not much else, and of course the music. Yeah, we do have hot sauce.
You do?
Yeah, not with us.
Uh,
Yeah, but there's
can it be ordered online?
yes.
Well,
Yeah,
there you go.
Big Daddy Assburn out of Houston, Texas.
What's the website? Throw it out.
I think it's bigdaddyassburn.com.
Right on. Perfect.
Yeah, if I'm mistaken, sorry, Beck and Trevi. I didn't mean to get that wrong, but I think if you put that on there, it's great. They have a cool concept where they get their favorite bands and they tailor a certain kind of hot sauce per band. I know they have Flaming Lips, they have High on Fire, they have us, they have a couple other Venice Maximus.
Does yours bring the heat or what?
Well, ours is like a smoking green.
Hey, habanero's hot.
Yeah, like a smoking green.
There you go. Yeah, I got you.
So but
So
it's great. Everybody
speaking
loves
of,
it.
how's that going for you on the tour?
Well, we didn't bring any this time. We just didn't. I guess we just didn't think about it. But in the
Right.
past, I know when it first came out, it was like by the second tour date, we were out because people were buying them like at 5 bottles each.
Now,
So,
how much does that influence your music?
the hot sauce? Not very
No.
much.
Yeah, just
Oh, the weed. Oh, man. Oh, that. Man, for me, I prefer to be stoned when I'm doing music,
Right.
whether it be writing or performing and stuff. I just like going on a journey, and when there's music and stuff.
I think your
like
fans
that.
do too.
Yeah.
That's killer, man. And Chris, how do you feel about that?
Me personally, I can't get high before I play.
Okay.
It doesn't do me well. I'll do it afterwards. I'm more of a drinker. I don't know if it's good to admit, but as of late, the older I get, the less I I tend to like do things. I like to stay just a little bit, on alert, stay, but I do get on edge. I do get nervous and anxious, and a couple of whiskeys and a beer does help, but
Well,
sometimes a little too much.
There's nothing but love over here in Arizona for all bands that come through.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing to be nervous about here.
Oh no, it's just me, just like wanting to play, put out a good performance.
Sure.
Always on, always thinking to myself, okay, we got to do good, stay on time, watch the guys, play the best of our abilities and stuff, and put on a show. It's also, not only a audio thing, but a visual thing too. And I hope that when people do see us play, they say, yeah, these guys look great, and they also sound great too.
So, with that in mind, is there anybody? Speaking about touring, is there anybody that you still want to tour with, or anybody that you've seen when you're not on tour that you're like, or even on tour that you're like, wow,
okay,
what was that?
Well, this band out of Dallas called Mothership. I saw them. I was with them. Not with them. I went to the Psycho Las Vegas this past year.
Sure.
Man, that's the first time I saw them.
Right.
And I was blown away. Kelly, the guitar player, is a madman.
Crushes.
He's really good. The band is tight, and they brought it, man. The crowd. Just seeing everybody around me, and it was like a full packed house. The joint in Las Vegas at the Hard Rock, full, and people knew their songs. People knew who they were, and that impressed me. I'm like, wow. And I want to play with those guys, And also, want to go down and mention Great Electric Quest, who we did our first show in Austin for this tour.
They'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, they'll be here tomorrow, man. Too bad that we're not going to be here. But I foresee we're going to do more shows together with those guys.
Fantastic.
A lot of those guys are great,
They're a killer bunch of guys. They got high energy.
Yeah.
They just put out a split with Lords of Beacon House, and they did an Iron Maiden cover.
Yes.
So
yeah,
they're on something. They got something going on.
And Mucho, he's man, watch that guy play drums. Is like, wow, I got to be on my A game to play. He's one of those cats that you got to like, wow, this guy can bring it. And and our buddies from Austin, Greenbeard, we're out on tour as well.
They're gonna be here tomorrow too.
Yo, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played with them last night.
Right.
And these guys out of Dallas, another Dallas band, Smoky Mirror, that we hope that we're going to do some work with, in the future. And just a slew of bands. A bunch of like this new crop of young guys in their 20s playing like heavy, doomy 70s style rock. It's very refreshing to me, because for a while I was thinking, okay, where's this thing going? And it's nice to see younger guys. It reminds me of when we were their age, but it seemed like we were the only ones doing it at the time. And now they're, it's like it's finally come to fruition, that the heavy Sabbath, but not only Sabbath, but more of the prog rock stuff, like the Captain Beyond stuff and the Cactus stuff, and stuff that Deep Purple or whatever, that's starting to be appreciated. And watching these guys do that material, do that music, is very good. It's like now there's a reason to go out to watch live music, to me anyway.
You brought something up about the 70s, and back in the day, you had 8-track, cassette, and the Mighty album. So, how do you feel? Like, how is this like resurgence of album sales? How has that affected your business? And do you find a lot more people buying albums now, or?
Yeah, we sell more vinyl than we sell anything else. Mainly, the last couple of tours have been that way. We have CDs and cassettes as well, and those sell pretty on the regular, but a lot of the times we get asked if we're going to put the new record out on vinyl, which we will. But, yeah, it's good overall for rock and roll in a whole, or music as it is. Vinyl's always better than anything.
Yeah, I think it's a genre thing, really. I think it's a genre thing where, like, for what we're doing and for bands like Mothership are doing, and, even you go a little bit bigger than that, and you have, like, Ty Segall and the OCs and stuff like that. For that kind of sound, for that kind of feel, like, people are wanting vinyl. When you go to something like, let's say something like Vintage Trouble, or something that's more on the radio and stuff like that, I'm sure they're putting vinyl out, but I think almost positively the majority of their sales are in the digital realm.
Right.
Which I think for our music, it's kind of flipped. The digital realm, not so much. I think it is for like when people haven't seen you yet and they want to download your stuff or whatever. But I think there's something about the genre, about the rock and roll, that when people go to the shows, they want to buy the vinyl.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. I mean, it seems like everybody that comes up, vinyl,
And cassettes are back too.
and what? Yeah, cassettes are back too.
Cassettes are back. We put out, actually our last release was an EP we put out like 2 years ago in 2015 called Rateros, and we put it just strictly out on tape. Only 200 copies are out there. And
Wow.
so, you know.
So if you got it, you got it.
If you got it, you got it, yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah, so, which they're almost gone, I think. I think we have like maybe like one tour's worth left at home, and then.
Well, you're hearing it
That's
here.
it.
You got to go online and buy it then,
Yeah,
or else
exactly.
it'll be out. So, what is the next phase in your career? Do you think? Do you think you're going to, like, you know, I know that you tour with a lot of the bands of a similar genre. Would you ever think of maybe touring with a different style, like a completely different style of band? Like, just as an example, say, I don't know, let's say Metallica want to take you on tour.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to jump on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's like you turn that down. Like, are you stupid? You know, no, definitely. No, I mean, we're definitely looking to the next level each time. We've been doing this style of circuit, you know, for our whole existence, and I think it's with a little more work, surrounded by the right people, that will eventually start getting to like bigger levels, like more like theaters, you know, venues. The venues will get better, you know. Festivals, you know, pretty much we've in the past we haven't gotten into the festival circuit, but now I think we've opened up a lot. We've met a lot of people that have like connections to doing festivals and stuff.
Like you're talking about Psycho, or
Yeah, like Psycho
the
Vegas,
Maryland Doomfest.
Maryland Doomfest.
Right on.
There's Electric Funeral in Denver, and just a slew of festivals. There's even, I think, one in the works in Texas.
Right.
That's only going to be solely focused on Texas bands, which would make for a killer festival.
Oh yeah.
One
well,
that'll bring everybody from all over the country, all over the world even, down to Texas, you know. And
speaking of Texas, so I don't know if it's a sore subject or not, but I know you guys had some horrible weather.
yes.
Even Mothership had a T-shirt that was dedicated to that. How did you guys fare through that?
We used to, I mean, we originally were from Houston. We had family living there. We grew up there. We went to school there. And I mean, we were fortunate enough that our time living there, we never witnessed such, you know, devastation that Harvey brought. And that made me sad. I was glad that we don't really have family there anymore, but we still have a lot of friends
Right.
that we kept in touch with and stuff, and it was like, is everything okay, you know? And just seeing the devastation that brought down was very hard. But you know, but I guess also in lifting spirits, you know, the Astros winning the World Series really like that helped out. So it was good.
That makes it a win.
yeah, for the city for sure. Yeah.
So, and moving from Texas, have you guys been across overseas yet?
No, not yet.
Do you want to?
Yes.
And what are your plans on? What you're planning on trying to get some gigs out there, or see what happens after the next release?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal ultimately, is to tour Europe.
Right.
You know, but me personally, I have issues with my passport. So as soon as I get that scored away, the sooner we'll get that underway. And as soon as we get done with this tour, we're going to get it on and get that done so we could, you know, go to Ireland and Germany and Switzerland and, you know, Europe in general.
I think it's a matter of finding the right promoter.
Yeah,
Right.
that's important.
The one that's going to put us in the right rooms. I know they have like a decibel thing over there. I've played in another band and done some European dates where,
Right.
you know, they're good paying gigs, but they're coffee shop gigs.
Mm.
And we would not be able to do that.
You blow the whole place apart.
Well, on top of that, we need to find the gear too.
Right.
You know, like we wouldn't be able to just be playing through like if they just gave us like a twin or
Right.
something. No, we actually, in order for what we do, for it to come across the way it's supposed to, and for amplified heat to have its effect, we have to have something comparable to the stacks that we use here. So it's a matter of finding the promoter who can put us in the right rooms, in the right places, in the right festivals with the adequate backline.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we would we would love to ship our stuff over there, but that's very expensive,
Yep.
and it's just not safe for your gear.
Well, people do that coming from Europe over here. I see some people, you'll see 3-4 bands, and they're all playing on the same kit.
Yeah,
They have the same
absolutely.
stacks
Yeah,
and everything,
yeah,
and it's
exactly.
it's kind of nice in a way. It's like a group effort, and, you're supporting the cause. So somebody over here has the gear, just like somebody over there has got to have gear,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they'll help you out. So, listen, guys, I so appreciate this. Is there anything that you want to mention to whoever's going to listen here?
Just keep your eyes and ears out for us. We're coming. It's Amplified Heat. We're back. I know we haven't done anything in a while, but new record's about to come out. We're going to be hitting the road more. We're going to be more prolific and bring out more material. There's more video content in the works, more social media presence. So we're here. We're not going anywhere. We're here to, chop your head off with our rock and roll.
And Chris?
Yeah, a lot of big things to come. I have a good feeling. Everything is going well. And, like Gian had said, a lot of things are in the works. The new album's going to come out. And then shortly thereafter, we're going to get started on the follow-up to that one. And more shows, more tours, more festival appearances. So we're definitely going to be on the map now. We're not going to be just this, have you heard of these guys? And yeah, but they don't go out or whatever. It's not that we didn't want to, but there was a lot of reasons for us not to. But that's in the past now. Now I think we're hooking up with the right people. We're meeting the right people and playing with these up-and-coming bands that have the same vision of rock and roll as we do. I think we're all going to fly together. And, we're Amplify Heat definitely has a future. And everyone's just keep your ears open and your eyes wide open.
And Jim?
They pretty much both nailed it in the head. We're just going to keep doing what we've been doing, but with more conviction and more motivation to get to the next level so we could spread our gospel Billy Graham style.
That sounds awesome. Now, I just do have one more question. Do any of you have a question for the next band I'm going to interview?
Lord have mercy. You got any marijuana?
Is that the
That's
the
what
question?
I'm gonna ask them. Yeah.
Well, damn, that's the question I'm going to be starting off with tomorrow. You got it. And I will say, Amplified Heat, this is the question of the day. So get ready. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. We're
I
much
am
obliged for having us.
so honored to see you guys, and I can't wait to see you play tonight.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. Thank you. All right, everyone. That was the first episode with Amplified Heat. Great bunch of guys. Check them out on tour and check out for their new upcoming material. And until then, you can go on a Bandcamp and purchase their other material. It is some really good stuff. I think you'll really like it. I have a few other interviews coming up that I've edited, and they should be coming out hopefully weekly. I'm working it out as I go. So stick with us, and we're going to provide some really good content, even some outside-the-box podcasts that could deal with the ideas of touring, on how to book a tour, or maybe even possibly something else regarding the scene or the touring in general. I think it'll be some really informative stuff, and I think I've got some really good ideas on some things other than interviewing bands or just a solo band member. So until that time, keep going to the shows, enjoy yourselves, and if you need to contact us, it's doomtombpocast on social media or doomtombpocast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and doom on.